This is big breaking emergency news. We are now seeing 25 different states being affected right now from a major cyber attack that is wiping out internet and causing internet outages and internet blackouts in these certain states. This is a current situation happening right now. This is affecting millions of different people in these 25 different states. All right, we also have the FBI warning that we're going to see even more attacks on U.S. critical infrastructure. All right, so there's a lot of big stuff going on. This is on top of the big news that I broke earlier today as well. This is entirely new, and now we're seeing internet outages and internet blackouts as well. Right, so this is big, and you should be getting prepared. So really quick, please hit that like for me, hit that subscribe button to get notified. I'm posting multiple videos every single day, keeping you guys updated on this big urgent news. All right, so this is currently happening. 25 different states. You can see here: California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Nebraska, Kansas, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Pennsylvania, New York, and Connecticut are all being affected right now because internet service providers are under a major cyber attack right now. And we also have the FBI warning that we're going to see even more cyber attacks. Check out this headline really quick. FBI says Chinese hackers preparing to attack U.S. infrastructure. This just came out today. This warning just came out today, and they're saying that we're really close to the big one. All right, we will get into more details of that in just a second, but you can see here that there has been a nationwide internet outage of Frontier Internet, who provides millions of customers with internet phone service, and they span over 25 states in the US. Right, so this is big. They've had to shut down their systems after the cyber attack. You can see here it says telecom giant Frontier shuts down some systems after cyber attack. It says Texas-based telecommunications company Frontier Communications reported a cyber attack to the SEC on Thursday. It says they cover services in over 25 states. It says the company said it detected unauthorized access to its IT systems on April 14th and began instituting a, quote, containment measures that included, quote, shutting down certain of the company's systems, right? The shutdowns caused operational disruptions that the company said, quote, could be considered material. And says based on the investigations, it has determined that the third party was likely a cybercrime group which gained access to other information and personally identifiable information as well, the company said. So this is big. This is on top of the news that I broke earlier today as well. There's a lot of big things going on, and it seems like these attacks are increasing in frequency. All right, let's get into the details here of this update that was just given by the FBI. You can see here, just posted today, FBI says Chinese hackers preparing to attack U.S. infrastructure. And you can see here, here's another headline. It says FBI director warns Chinese hackers lying in wait to attack U.S. infrastructure, and it is, quote, upon us now. All right, they sent out this official bulletin on their own website. All right, this is on the FBI website, and they're warning that the Chinese government, quote, poses bold and unrelenting threats to U.S. critical infrastructure. All right, so they've been warning of this for a few months, but it seems like we are getting close, and it seems like a lot of these attacks that are happening in the background could potentially be foreign attacks, and there's also potentially bad state actors that could be taking advantage of these attacks for these false flag situations, because these cyber attacks are very gray and very sketchy, right? Let's dive into the details here. He said, the PRC, People's Republic of China, has made it clear that it considers every sector that makes our society run as fair game in its bid to dominate on the world stage, and that its plan is to land low blows against civilian infrastructure to try to induce panic and break America's will to resist, right? So this is going to be death by 1,000 cuts, where we keep seeing these critical infrastructures taken offline, and every time this happens, it costs billions of dollars. Companies lose a ton of money, and sometimes they don't recover from this as well, right? So, and we could potentially see a big one where electrical grids across the United States are taken out. You can see here it says that they are worried about 25 or 23 different pipelines being targeted. It says an ongoing Chinese hacking campaign known as Volt Typhoon has successfully gained access to numerous American companies in telecommunications, energy, water, and other critical sectors, with 23 pipeline operators targeted, Ray said in a speech at the Vanderbilt University, right? So they're also warning that these 23 critical pipelines, natural gas pipelines and oil pipelines, are going to be targeted for cyber attacks as well. And that means the grid is going to go down, because 60% of all grid capacity comes from, quote, fossil fuels, right? Things like oil, diesel, and natural gas, okay? And in some areas, 40% of the grid alone is natural gas. And if you take out a single natural gas pipeline system like New York, New England, this actually happened almost a few times in the past few years, where these pipelines underwent extreme situations and they had to shut them down under emergency, right? And this happened last year in New York, and it was just revealed 6 months ago. I remember reporting on this. And all they have to do is shut down one of these pipelines, and then the electrical grid is not going to work. All right, the natural gas generators are not going to be powered, and they're not going to be producing the energy they need to keep the electrical grid going. And if they were able to shut off 23 major pipelines at once, and this actually happened, all right, the Colonial Pipeline, this happened a few years ago, and it's one of the major oil pipelines going to the southeast, okay? And I remember I was down there at the time, and I was calling my family because they were a few hours away, and I was seeing if they had gas down there in the city, because I was more rural and they were staying in the city, and I was saying, hey, are you sure there's gas down there? Because there was no gas where I was in the more rural areas. It was all getting concentrated to the cities because there were major gas shortages from the Colonial Pipeline that went down, right? This was just a few years ago, and it was down for weeks. It was getting bad. It really dwindled. I remember just watching the gas stations dwindling and dwindling, and the ones near us just dried up one by one. We kept going further, and then it got to a point where we just weren't traveling anywhere or driving anywhere because we didn't know if we were going to have enough gas, right? He also said here, quote, China is developing the ability to physically wreak havoc on our critical infrastructure at a time of its choosing. All right, so this is what they're getting us ready for. It could be China. It could be another country. It could be bad, nefarious actors that are doing things. It could even be non-state groups, just random groups that are doing this as well. And there could be people playing both sides that are doing these things, that have backdoor access, that are causing sabotage as well to this critical infrastructure. All right, so we are getting major warning after major warning, and after the outages that we're seeing today, outages of internet service and big outages and big things going on that I reported of earlier today as well, then this is big, right? This is big, having both of these issues come together. And you can see here that China is actually saying that it's the US that's spoofing these attacks and making it look like China, and it's actually the US doing it, right? And these technologies and these tools actually do exist, and these things could happen, but China also does have advanced cyber capabilities, and they could definitely be orchestrating these attacks as well. This is why these cyber attacks are so dangerous, because the waters really can be muddied, and it could be hard to tell exactly where the attack's coming from and pinpoint it. All right, and you can see here, this is what China said, quote, "Some in the US have been using origin tracing of cyber attacks as a tool to hit and frame China, claiming the US to be a victim while it's the other way around, and politicizing cybersecurity issues." All right, that's what MFA spokesperson said, according to comment. All right, and Director Ray also said that China's hackers operated a series of botnets, which are constellations of compromised personal computers and servers around the globe, to conceal their malicious cyber activity. All right, so this can happen to anyone. Your fridge can be taken over. Your people have toothbrushes that connect to the internet now. Everything connects to the internet now, and these servers and systems for them can be compromised and used in these attacks. That's what he's talking about, these botnets. All right, he also said that private sector American technology and cybersecurity companies previously attributed Volt Typhoon to China, including reports by security researchers with Microsoft and Google. All right, so they're also saying and pointing the finger at China as well, Google and Microsoft, because they have had major compromises as well. And just yesterday we had revealed that there were water systems inside of Texas that were under cyber attacks the past few months, and were causing water levels to overflow and be too high, and they were even taking control of hydroelectric dams. And with that, they can potentially open the floodgates or allow things to overflow too high and cause massive flooding as well, much less shutting down your water and your critical infrastructure. They can also use the water as a weapon to cause mass flooding and devastation and wipe out entire towns that are near these hydroelectric power sources. And they were also taking over these water towers in Texas as well. All right, so make sure that you have your tanks filled up, ready to go. All right, make sure that you have your water tank filled, your gas tank filled, your prepper pantry filled up. All right, please hit it up for me down there. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. It helps to get these warnings out so people know what's going on, and so you can be prepared. All right, and the key to this information is to be preemptive, right? So you have a leg up and you are ready when things hit the fan, right? So it's not to be scared, it's not to be alarmed, but it's to realize there's a sense of urgency for preparedness, and you should be ready, because things could happen at a moment's notice. All right, these people with Frontier internets, they woke up in 25 different states and their internet services are offline right now, right? So it can happen to anyone, anytime, and it can happen overnight. That's what happened to these services as well that I reported on earlier today. Overnight services go offline and we see major situations, right? So thank you guys. I hope you have big blessings for your life, your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.